Well, I've got another item on my honey-do list. It involves this chainsaw and this, I guess it's Byan, B-Y-A-N-E. It is a carbide chain, because in her little garden that we walled off with deer fence that she calls a deer garden, there was a tree outside it that came down in a storm, and it's huge, and then the roots are going everywhere, and there's one massive root that's in the middle of her garden, and she wants it gone. I looked at it, and I worked at it a little bit with an axe, and I worked at it a little bit with a reciprocating saw with a pruning blade, and it's going to require more horsepower. So I ordered this Byan carbide chainsaw chain, and I'm going to put it on, and then tomorrow I'm going to see about cutting it into little sections that I can, kind of like with bread, and hopefully I can pry them apart maybe, and get it down to the point that she can plant. Time will tell, we'll see. So to change the chain, you got this wrench that is in there. Take that end, loosen that screw, get that out, get that off, and there is your chain, and that will lift off like that, and then we'll have to put this one on. So with that chain off, should be able to set this on. Guess it's going to be easier to do it like this. Kind of like that. And that's going to go on like that. Kind of like so. When you're putting the cover on, with a new chain, this adjuster pin that goes right there, you have to take this and adjust it back so that when you get it on, that aligns. You got a nub in there that goes in there, and you got these right here that go right there, and if you do it right, it will pop on. There. When you get it aligned, it falls right together. Then you just have to tighten the chain up like you see me doing right there. That's got to be a bit tighter. When you get the adjustment about right, and that's loosened up just a bit, which is to be expected. I think that's pretty good. So let's try it. Yeah, I think it's pretty good. Although I fully expect that it's going to initially stretch even more. But anyway, maybe now we're ready to see if that'll cut the roots and go through the earth. As you can see in the inset here, I've dug around it, and I've tried to get most of the rocks out, but of course I'm always going to miss one. That just goes without saying. So this is her deer-proof garden, and that is what I got to work on. It is a massive root assembly. Now what I thought I'd do, I'd cut off some of this periphery stuff, and then this big piece, I want to start cutting it like bread and see if I can pry it out. I've got a pickaxe. Hopefully I can get in and pop the slices. Time will tell. It'd be nice if we could get in here with a stump grinder, but that's not going to happen. Not with all our plants. One piece down. Maybe do these. Well, so far, I think it's doing okay. Okay. Piece by piece. I think this is, as Claudia used to say, it's how you eat an elephant, one piece at a time. Well, there's the hole after one battery. That's what I got dug out. There's another battery. What I'm finding is the chain stretches quite a bit in the earth. I'm lubing it a lot, I'm tightening it a lot, but it is cutting. I don't know whether you can see the smoke coming out of the motor, but I just got going on the second battery, making a cut right there, and I smoked her. She's dead. So with my good chainsaw burned up, I dug out my old one, where I compared it against the new one right here in this video. And because the chain was always dry, even though I was using as much oil as I could get onto it with the pump, we're going to use the Blaster chain and cable lubricant from this video here. So we'll see how it goes. So, she who must be obeyed has decided we're not going to touch that. I'm just going to try to clean off some of this, and we're going to call it good. And then I get to go buy a brand new, good Ryorbi 18-volt chainsaw at $179. But it is what it is. Okay.
hate the handles on this old one. It just can't get a good grip on stuff.
That moved. Wish this thing had the speed of the other one. There.
This is my late 90s Homelite XL chainsaw. It hasn't been run this century. So I put a new plug, put new gas, new oil in there, got a new chain, and I'm going to cut the top of this, try to anyway. I would like to get the carbide blade, except these XLs take 53 tooth, 3/8, 050, 53 tooth. You can't get the carbide in 53 unless you buy a roll and the tool and make it yourself. They come in 52. I tried to put a 52 on. It won't fit. It's just a touch too short. So got to go with 53. So it's a conventional chain. So I think I'm just gonna work at the top, see if I can get it knocked down a little bit for her, because she wants it down, and unless you can get a stump grinder, I don't see any other way to do it. Well, that kind of looks like it's going to work. Well, I did that little bit of cutting, like every ½ inch, and by the time I got over here, that conventional chain is dull. It's going to have to be sharpened. But I took it down inch, inch and a half. Well, looks like I took a big chunk out. Yeah, took a big chunk out. Still got that. Still got that. But she isn't cutting warm butter right now. The chain is dull. It was not meant to cut earth. So we're getting it, but it's going to have to be sharpened and sharpened and sharpened. Well, with a little work, what I did was I cut those sandwich slices like you saw. I took that and went at it, and I've got it down now a good 5 inches below grade. Grade is there. It's about 5 inches. That's going to be good enough to put her bulbs. The bulbs go in at 4 inches. The plants will grow around all that stuff. So this honeydew was kind of successful, but it was expensive. I ate a chainsaw. I ate a brand new chain in that old Homelite XL, and but she got what she wanted. Cut. They probably heard you laughing. So anyway, here's Claudia and her root.
We lost a lot of depth of soil because he took so much fruit out, but
We'll just add more.
well, and if I can slope it so I'm not dropping down into a big hole, it'll work out anyway.
So you're happy?
Yes.
That's all that matters.
Thank you, dear.